Hi, my name is Sarah Rios, and this is my story about pulmonary hypertension. About 3.5 years ago, I was 24 at the time, and I was healthy. I was involved in youth ministry. I was the youth minister at my parish, and I also helped with the Charismatic Center here in San Antonio, Texas. And one day, I was perfectly fine. Nothing was wrong. And about, I would say, it was in maybe January of 2008 was about the first time we were at a youth retreat. And I was in the middle of a skit, and I was supposed to be a drug addict. And, and I was supposed to be high on drugs. Well, I accidentally passed out in the middle of the skit. No one thought or knew that it was fake, and I wasn't really passing out. So it was really scary because I hit my head really hard. No one knew what was going on. By the time the ambulance got there, I was completely fine and okay. So I didn't think anything of it. Everything was normal. I just thought, you know what, I overdid it. I dehydrate really easily. That's my problem. So it stayed like that. Well, it happened a couple more times, so I started going to the doctor. She never really knew exactly what the problem was. So she's like, it's probably a pre-diabetic condition. Your blood sugar is going too low. You need to make sure that you have the glucose tabs. So anytime I would start to get dizzy or out of breath or just not feel well, I would go ahead and eat these tabs. They weren't helping at all. Well, as time passed, I still didn't know what was going on. I was still passing out a lot. I passed about 6-7 times in 2008. Well, in the fall of 2008, I was asked to join a Spanish ministry team. And we went to Denver, Colorado, and did a retreat in Colorado where I was actually pretty healthy. I did pretty good at that retreat. Then in October, two weeks after we got back from Denver, we went to Mexico City, to Cuernavaca, and so we toured Mexico City for a couple of days. Then we went and did a 3-day retreat in Cuernavaca for teenage orphanage. For teenagers who lived in an orphanage. When I got back from Mexico, I was still feeling kind of sick. Something was wrong. I wasn't okay. I knew this. I continued passing out. I continued going to the doctors. They couldn't find anything. And finally, one day, in end of May of 2009, I got really sick. I felt like I had a lot of pressure on my chest. I couldn't breathe. My heart was kind of racing really ugly, not beating normally. So I told my mom, and she's like, Sarah, it sounds like you're having a heart attack. Because, I felt my hands tingly. My face was tingly. I just couldn't breathe. It was the most disgusting, ugly, horrible feeling I've ever felt in my life. And I ended up in the hospital for 3 weeks. June 1st, the doctor comes in and asks to speak to us, and they found out what was wrong. They told me, you have pulmonary hypertension. And I was like, okay, what is that? They're like, well, your lungs are not working very well. And I was like, okay, that's okay. What do we do? And he's like, well, we're going to go ahead and do more tests and see what exactly is going on. No big deal. It's going to be okay. Okay, fine. Little did I know is that they pulled out my mom and told her I had about 3 months to live, because my lungs were just dead. They didn't want to work anymore. They were pretty much giving up. So I did a lot of tests for the next several months. I started seeing an amazing doctor, Dr. Deborah Levine, here in San Antonio, who's an amazing pulmonologist. She's fabulous. I love her. And it turns out I have really bad pulmonary hypertension. So they started me on different medications. And that helped me a lot. But pulmonary hypertension is high blood pressure in the lungs. literally your lungs and your arteries are kind of like contracting, and they're getting smaller, and it's like breathing out of a teeny tiny little straw, one of those stirs for the coffee, like that. Instead of having nice big open veins like a normal straw, you're breathing out of a coffee stir, and so your lungs aren't getting enough air. So therefore, the right side of your heart, which gets oxygenated blood, is working a lot harder. Well, the right side of my heart is like 2 to 3 times larger than what it's supposed to be. So, and that's something that happens with all pulmonary hypertension patients, is that our lungs and our heart kind of go hand in hand, and they don't work very well. So I'm on oxygen. I'm not wearing it right now because it's easier to talk without it. And I recently got an IV here in my chest. And I have medicine. I would show it to you, but it's kind of not that pretty. I don't know if you can see it, but it's there. This is him. But I'm silly. But 2 years later, after my diagnosis, 2.5 years later now, I am doing really well. I started college. I'm so happy. I'm 27. I'm finally going back to school. Better late than never. But instead of wanting to be a youth minister and do ministry, I kind of want to be a social worker and have a PH office here in San Antonio, where it's a support group and a support system where PH patients can come and find help on how to get, supplies, where to go, what to do, because it's a lot of information and it's really scary. So just pass the word. Pulmonary hypertension, it's incurable and deadly, and people die every day from this, and it's not going away. It's incurable. But I'm going to live life to the fullest. And I know a lot of my PH friends are also. And so we're not giving up, and we're not going to stop. We're going to find a cure some way, somehow. God will help us, and I have faith. So just pass the word. Pulmonary hypertension. Thanks. Have a great day. God bless.